Welcome everybody to our July roundtable. Thanks for joining us. We decided we're gonna talk about library card sign-up month today. We originally were thinking it might be fun to just kind of have an open discussion and talk about summer reading and what everybody's doing. But then, Chris, one of our board members, decided, he brought up the idea about talking about library card sign-up month. So we thought it would be good to transition to that. Oh, and by the way, again, I'd like it to be informal discussion, pretend like we're sitting around the table together. You don't have to necessarily mute your mic unless you've got some background noise going on. You can turn on your camera if you want, but you don't have to. Feel free to just kind of put some comments in the chat. And hi, Beth, thanks for waving. Thanks for putting on your camera. We don't care if you guys are in your bathrobes at home. Anyhow, I thought I'd look up a little bit of history of Library Card Sign-Up Month. It is an ALA, American Library Association campaign, and it was started in 1987, which I thought was interesting. That's 35 years ago. And at the time, it was a response to the then Secretary of Education, William Bennett, who stated, let's have a campaign. Every child should obtain a library card and use it. So from there, I guess it started, as probably more a push for libraries to, get kids signed up and get cards in kids' hands. So over the years, there's every year is a theme. I'm sure we all know that, unless we've got some newcomers here. There's a new theme each year, and they try and get honorary chairs. They've had some, famous people be the chairs. I don't remember what year it is, but I feel like it was maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Snoopy was the honorary chair. So I think they try and give us interesting themes and some graphics for libraries to use if they are so inclined. This year's ALA chairs are Idina Menzel and her sister Kara Menzel. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but Idina is a Tony Award-winning performer, actress, singer, songwriter, and philanthropist, and her sister is an author and educator, and they wrote a book together, apparently. I didn't know any of this before I went looking at some of this. And the book is called Loudmouth, and it's kind of about singing and a little bit of, I think it has to do with their personal stories about singing together and stuff like that. So that book is going to be released in September. So the theme is Find Your Voice at the Library, which I think is nice and seems kind of appropriate for right now. Anyhow, there's some quotes on the website. There's some cute resources. So, check some of those things out if you have not already. So what I like to do is kind of just open up the floor then. I hope some of you have ready ideas to share, or things that you've done in the past that didn't work, or things that you'd like to try. Anyhow, anybody, please go ahead and share.
This is Lisa, and my camera's off because of internet issues. I have looked at the ALA paid art for National Library Card Sign-Up Month, which uses the is a cartoon mouse. I'm not sure what it is. Usually there is separate art that is free for download, and I have not seen that yet. Is anybody have a link or have seen that? Because we usually prefer that art to the ALA art. The cartoon mouse is not doing it for me.
Yeah, I haven't looked further, but maybe that's something we can try and find out. We could maybe share on our Facebook group maybe as we get closer. Margarita, did you have a comment?
I just looked at the link somebody posted and it's still the cartoon mouse. So honestly, we're talking about coming up with our own theme, which is be something like score big with your library card, like a football type theme. We're talking about going to school football events and doing signups. Football is really big here in Rock Island. We're gonna do Fine Free Fridays on in September for Library Card Sign Up Month. And that is connected with our goal to fine free by next year.
Nope.
And we'll also do if you've lost your card,
Yeah.
that fee.
So
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I really like that idea about going to events with like a table. I'd never thought of doing that before, getting out into the community instead of expecting them to come to us. We can bring our little computer and our hotspot and sign people up out there. Like we have community events up and down our main street and stuff. So that's a great idea. Thank you. Whoever shared that.
yeah, I like that idea too. Let's see, September, I think our farmers market is still going on all the way into October. You know, we've tried some things there. Okay, Robin, go ahead.
Hi, I'm from the Niles Main District Library. So actually we've done a lot of like community engagement for library card sign up. So Beth, like I know you just mentioned that you hadn't really thought much about it, but a few years ago, like pre-pandemic, we actually did like a petting zoo at one of the malls that's like in our community. And I think we're signing people up for library cards. I can't off the top of my head, because it's been like years, remember how many people we signed up, but I do know that 300 people came to the actual event. So I'm like a huge champion of like definitely going out into the community and like bringing your patron services people or whoever does like the library card signups and doing that. I've seen like big turnouts when we've done stuff like that in the past. So
Right, that's cool. What kind of things have you had at your table to bring, you know, people over?
sure. So we actually started a campaign called Best Deal Ever, meaning that like having a library card is the best deal ever. We actually won a John Cotton Dano Award for that, which was like really exciting. And with that, we had a pamphlet that we made, and like in the middle of the pamphlet, there's like a magnet that looks like our library card. It has like our hours, our phone numbers, so people were able to like take that pamphlet, and it had like reasons why having a library card is the best deal ever. So for instance, like being able to get like meeting rooms and using Hoopla, Canopy, Gale courses, stuff like that. And then they would get like the little magnet as like a takeaway. So we would have that pamphlet, and then we would make like double-sided flyers of maybe some like programs or events that were coming up. Definitely program sheets. So like for kids, we had all of our quarter, like I think at that time we were quarterly. So all of like the kids programs on like a flyer to give away. Maybe some like digital services type flyers of like technology that people could come to the library and use. And like some fun stuff, like maybe we had like little tchotchkes that we gave away as well. So,
Right.
yeah.
Great.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think you're right. Outreach is really important. We have to get out of our building to get in front of our community. Summertime, you know, fall is always really good for that. Great. Keith, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, hey, can you guys hear me? Is it working? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm Keith. I'm with the Marion Carnegie Library downstate. And I very much like the idea of kind of getting outside the walls and talk to people in the community. I wanted to ask you guys though, when you do that, so an issue that we have with signing up people for library cards is that we require, of course, the address proof and the photo ID. And what I found is that people just don't travel with that. We've started being a little more flexible with like people using, if they have an email bill from an emailed electric bill or something like that. Like in the past, we haven't used that, but over the last 8 months or so, I think we've kind of loosened up on that. do you guys have any experience with like, doing any sort of other thing, or is it mainly outreach, like, hey, here's why you should get a library card, and not necessarily go ahead and sign up for one right now? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, good question. I'd like to hear if anybody was successful with that as well. I know at Palatine, like I mentioned, we've been at farmers market, and we were going to bring a laptop and have it all ready, and we couldn't get it. This was a couple years ago before COVID. We couldn't get the tech quite right, and so I know what we did is like partially fill out the form, and here's a temporary card. If we had anybody sign up, we'd bring it, right after farmers market, we'd bring it to circulation. They'd fill it in, and we would just tell the people, hey, just go into the library and tell them, that you filled out a form at the farmers market, and then they'd like finish the whole process, So I honestly don't know how successful. I don't think we got a ton of people doing that. So I would be interested to hear if anybody else found a way to do it like right there, real time.
This is Lisa. We also tried using the Fairy Cat. I can't remember the name of it, but it was a shared login for issuing library cards on the spot. And we really had issues with it from a technical standpoint. A lot of libraries use that as their main ILS. And so we were competing with them for bandwidth, and it just didn't work out well. So what we do when we're at an outside event, we use mail verification. We take their application, we mail them the card. If the card is, the address is not right, the card will be returned to us. And so that's how we make sure that it's both a valid address and it's in our service area. Yeah, and of course, if we are able to get verification on site, we could try doing it, but you have to have the label maker, and it's just kind of a big thing, and it just works out so much better to have it with the mail verification.
Right, yeah. Anybody else?
This is Carrie from 6 Mile Regional Library District. We're in Granite City. It's a St. Louis metro.
Wow.
We do what we call SMRLD pops up throughout the month.
Say that again.
SMRLD pops up, popping up in your community. We have 3 different cities that we serve, so we try to get out to every area. We do 12 to, I think 1 year we did 30 pop-ups. And we've done this for the past maybe 5 years. It usually works out really well. We take our tech with us, but obviously, like you're saying, people don't always have enough ID with them, or you're having tech issues. So we do a mix of both on the spot signups, or we'll have folks fill out the form and we'll take it back into the library with us and have it all prepared with their card and keep that in a little box behind the desk and say, hey, come in and pick up your card. We'll have it ready for you and we can show you around. We also do a football game. We always do I think it's a senior night football game as one of ours. And we have a really great giveaway that we take to that one. It's a beer koozie for the adults. And it has a design that I made on it on one side that's kind of a riff off of an Every Library design from a few years back. And it says, today's library, not the same old The adults love that.
I love it. That's great. That's great. Quick question there. How did you just reach out to the high school and say, hey, we want to come to the football game? And they were like, sure, or were they?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Our school district is very supportive. We have one principal now, one teacher, and one retired teacher on our board. So we have great cooperation with the school district.
Awesome.
And then with the other businesses, a lot of them are repeats. We have a kind of a rehab farm in the area. So we go out and do sort of like a petting zoo kind of thing. We do, our farmers market is just across the street from us, from our main branch. So a lot of times, like somebody was asking about for the kids, we'll load that up with kids' books donations for sale. and take that out across the street with some of our other swag and of course all the brochures and event stuff. And we always get a great turnout from that.
Yep.
And then we have our community is big on ice cream shops, so we'll try to hit up a few of the ice cream shops at busy times and set up a table for an hour or two. Just get out to the restaurants and businesses and talk to folks.
It's great. Okay, who else wants to share? Omar, I think you've got your hand up there.
Yeah, I just wanted to share some of the things that we did last year. We're still in the midst of planning this year, but last year we had a really great turnout, especially coming out of the pandemic. It was our very first big program we had in the library. So what we ended up doing is really highlighting all the benefits of the library. Every time you used your library card, we would reward you by having a spinning wheel at the checkout desk. And you would win a prize every time you checked out books. And it would be anything from a small, maybe like a school supply, to maybe a backpack. And that really got people coming in and checking out books. And then we would also give people an entry to a grand prize if they got their library card or upgraded to the very new one, the Baby Yoda one. And I gotta say that the Baby Yoda theme was a very huge thing that drew people into the library. We took that and we decorated the library into a whole space theme. And that drew people to take pictures and just get excited about the Baby Yoda Star Wars theme. So that was a huge thing.
Oh, I
And
love
then
it.
yeah, and then we also did something we had never tried before, which was doing a library card party when we had all these little what would we carnival games, you know, tossing the ball, and every time you won one, you would get an entry into the grand prize, and then you would get little prizes as well. And we had a huge turnout. Our circulation line was backed up. So really, we wanted to highlight the benefits of having a library card. You know, getting one, you would get rewarded. Using it, you would get rewarded. And we're trying to plan something where we're going to reward using your library card as well this time around. So those are just some ideas.
Yeah, that's great. I love. What library are you from?
Oh, sorry, the West Chicago Public Library.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you did this just in September.
September, all month long. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool. I think people love free stuff. We did something similar in April, and kind of was combined it with National Library Week, but we did a whole month. We did, prize drawing every week. Yeah, people love getting free stuff. Our numbers were really good that month, so that was exciting.
Sorry to interrupt, but someone asked in the chat, Omar, what was the grand prize for that?
Actually, it was very simple. We just had one basket. It was an R2D2 basket, and it was full of all these Star Wars tchotchkes, you know, like a tumbler cup, a pillow, and people loved it. People were so excited to get it. I think we had around 500 people entered that drawing. Yeah.
Right. Makes sense to, kind of grab a theme that's already working out there and kind of utilize that. Great. Okay, Robin, you've got your hand up.
I just had a question for everybody, actually, because when we started our Best Deal Ever campaign, we also created, it's actually like my baby, so I'm really excited about it, but it's like show your card, get a deal. So you go to businesses in the area, you show your library card, you get a deal. But it's really hard to get businesses involved, and it's a huge undertaking. So I was wondering for anybody else that has something similar, because we always run it in September. If anyone else had any tips or how you manage to get your businesses involved, and I would really love to hear any feedback on that.
Right. Yeah, we've been doing a show your card in September, I think since 2015, 2016. And so I think one of the things that I would say is you have to build on those relationships, and it's an ongoing thing. But my staff person, Maritza, she can share a little bit more of how she does that work.
Yeah, so this is my second year doing this. And at first it was a little bit difficult, but I'm the liaison between the library and the Palatine Chamber of Commerce. So I've used their directory to find different businesses to participate. And I've noticed that a lot of like the smaller local shops would participate too. Like we have a hot dog shop around the corner that, supports the library all the time. And in my outreach, whether it's emails or phone calls, I just emphasize that that they get to connect with our huge community because our district services so many, like I think 38,000 households. So I emphasize that in my outreach, and I, let them know that, by supporting the library, you support literacy, and people can see that you support our mission. But yeah, it was a little bit difficult at first, but once you kind of get the hang of it and just reach out and ask, people are surprisingly like really receptive to doing it.
Yeah, and I would say repetition, right? Even as I has to reach out to people a lot, and I know that that's hard when we're all so busy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I send emails when we start, because of our newsletter cycle. I send emails when we start our summer reading program, actually, which is June 1st. So I start reaching out to them really early, and I let them know what's going on. If I don't hear back from them, I send a follow-up in like 2 weeks. So I email them like every 2 weeks. And then if there's nothing, then if I really want them to participate, then I will call. Because if it's a really cool business or if it's a new one, then I'll call them and say like, hey, this is what's going on and it's a really good idea. Or if not, if I don't hear anything, then of course I just let it go.
right, and we're gonna, the reward for them is we put their name and their logo in our newsletter, which goes out to all those homes. It's on our website. We're gonna give them like a poster to put up in their place of business. And we usually have kind of like a level system. We're gonna probably post about you on social media in September. I don't always guarantee that we'll do like one, like each business will get their own post. Sometimes we kind of group them, but you're gonna be on our social media, so we just play up that stuff. And I think this year actually we're gonna put like something on the digital monitor about each business that participates. So think about the things that you can give in kind, and give them some press. So they just want their name out there is what I think is helpful. So, but again, you have to build. I mean, we've been doing it for years, and I would say this year's a little bit rougher because the economy is crappy right now. And I could totally understand how some businesses that were participated a couple years ago or maybe like this year going, yeah, I'd love to, but I can't even give you a 10% discount on a, show your because they're struggling. So, I understand that, and hopefully we'll recover and still be able to keep doing it. But I could see that this year in particular could be a struggle for businesses. So does that help?
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing this for like 3 years now, and I get a lot of the same people every time, which is great. Like, my favorite one is Super Dog, of course, because they're right down the street and I love them. But it's just hard with the economy and everything. And I actually go into the community, like I've made a flyer that like spells out exactly like what they'll get. They get everything you've mentioned. We do social media. We put them in our e-newsletter. We put them in our newsletter, like our print one. We have posters in the library with their names. We have bookmarks, so they are everywhere. But I guess maybe, it's just hard across the board to talk people into it, even though they're getting like free advertising because of like COVID and everything with the economy. So, but thank you so much for going through your process. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. Does anyone else do show your card along with library card sign up month in September? Maybe just raise your hand or shout out. I'm not seeing very many who do this. Interesting. It is a lot of work. I definitely know that. I feel like was it Mount Prospect?
So I we are not doing it anymore. And I actually came on board after we stopped. So we didn't do it throughout the pandemic, and we are not bringing it back this year. For us, I think it just became too staff intensive, and the return wasn't necessarily as worthwhile as we wanted it to be, which is. I just asked really fast, like for anyone who like used to do it or does it now, like how do you measure like who is using? Because I'll be honest, we have not measured and we really want to this year. So how did you go about doing that?
So yeah, that's a struggle. For the last 2 or 3 years, we've kind of said, hey, if you can you just record? So people come in and show you the card, and so like the Jewel by Us gives people like a free apple or a banana if they show their card. And so how many staff do they have and how many cashiers? I don't expect them to be able to track how many free apples. They're probably like, no, we're not going to track. But we recently did hear from one of the park districts that was doing a where it was a skate park.
Yeah, so Hoffman Estates Park District was offering, here I could read it off actually, a free skate rental with paid admission during public open skate. And they reached out to let me know that last year they had about 70 people do show your card. Yeah, we don't really have a way to track it. I think with Hoffman Estates, especially the Park District, they actually come up with their own system of tracking it. And then they just relay me with the information.
So they're being smart because they're thinking, well, we want to do this, but if it's not beneficial, then so they're tracking. So I guess we could include in our messaging a little bit of like, hey, if you can track it, we want to be beneficial for you as well as for us, or even like you said, you go out to businesses, maybe that's just kind of a part of the conversation to get people thinking. So yeah, it's hard to, I think one year we gave them like these tally sheets and no one ever filled them out. And I understand it's hard to, we've also had, unfortunately, times where a member would complain and say, hey, I went to such and such business and showed them my library card and they didn't have any idea. So again, you're like, well, how many staff does the hot dog place have, and are they doing a good job of communicating? So we've had to reach out to those people and say, hey, there was a problem. So it's not a perfect system, but I do know that our members are used to it since we've been doing it for so many years. And in the end of August, we get members who are like, hey, where's the brochure? We want to know what the deals are in September. But again, we'd have been like tracked exact numbers. So I suppose one of the reasons why we just concentrate on show your card is because we saw that we were not getting a lot of library cards in September. We get a lot of library cards in May, kind of building up to summer reading. So for us, it seemed like it would be better to just do show your card. We really don't do a push for get a library card. But communities are different. So I like what you guys have been sharing about doing more outreach. That makes more sense to me to just be out than putting it in your newsletter. So anyhow, okay.
There was a question earlier in the chat from someone who asked if we had seen a drop in participation because of the pandemic. And I just wanted to address that because we actually didn't. And I think it's because of the consistency, because our members are so used to this. And we have a lot of businesses that are they're ready to just participate in all of our programs again because they're used to doing it and they're used to seeing like our library members. So we actually didn't really, I think we had maybe one less last year, but it's still pretty consistent where we have nearly 20 businesses that are willing to participate.
Yeah. Okay, what are the great things or fun things or not so great things we tried for Library Card Sign Up Month? Has anyone felt like the characters or the honorary chairs have helped them in their messaging? I remember the Snoopy thing comes into my mind because I was super nervous about putting Snoopy in our print newsletter because I was like, do we have permission to do that? Like, so I don't think we did. And I saw other libraries back at I don't know how many years ago that do that. So anyhow, Lisa.
The superhero Incredibles tie-ins were wonderful for us. We were in a parade with them. We purchased the cutouts to have around the library, and I have, you know, the Edna mode was my favorite. The Peanuts one was great for us too, but the Toy Story and Incredibles, I think, were the two really hot topic ones that really worked best for us, and that we were able to do the most with.
So you would definitely say use those characters. Go use them. They helped you a lot. Okay.
Yeah, as long as you are in compliance with the copyright restrictions that they've laid out through ALA, you're fine. And you're fine using it in promotions and brochures and advertisements. You cannot change or edit them in any way. They're very, you know, particular about that. They often have the library card, which we don't use because we have our own, but you know, a lot of libraries have done that. So you couldn't take those characters and put them into new situations or new scenes, but as long as you use what they give you, you're fine.
Okay. Christy.
Yeah, I was gonna, similar to what Lisa's saying, Toy Story went over really well for us. And we actually made a little promotional video with Toy Story toys that had a whole storyline. We had somebody who was very excited to make it. And it went over really well on social. But I have to say, I am a little bummed this year that it's not something quite that level. But I do like the theme, just not the artwork tying into it. It just doesn't feel as recognizable. Like even like Andrea said, I didn't know what it was. I had to like read into it to figure out what the deal was. So that was kind of a bummer. So
yeah,
previous years, yes, I've loved the theme and I feel like it resonates with patrons.
Yeah, do we feel like we could still use Find Your Voice at the library, but not necessarily use their graphics? Is that, anybody have any insight on that?
My gut reaction would be that would be fine, as long as you're not using their typeface.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they can copyright any of those words. I will say that in reference to your other question, the national spokespeople don't do anything for us and really never have. You know, I thought the year they had the basketball player, that might work for us, but it doesn't. I think unless it was a Iowa Hawkeye or a local celebrity, it wouldn't matter much to our folks.
Right.
I think the difficulty with the theme this year, at least what we've been talking about, is the iReads theme for summer reading program next year, I think is Use Your Voice or something like that. So it's very similar. So knowing that we're probably going to go with the iReads theme next year, we're trying to come up with something different just because I think, like everyone said, the mouse isn't necessarily something we feel will connect with everyone here. And looking ahead, if we're planning to use the iReads theme, we don't want to overdo it with the whole use your voice, raise your voice, find your voice type of situation.
And Trent, that's a good, that is a really good point about the ILA theme. I had forgotten about that, but you're right. They are very, very similar.
Right. So then, do we all in September give away swag to people who come in and get a new library card? What's the, yeah, I could come in and get a library card anytime, but What are we doing for September?
You know, last year we tried to do a contest that was connected to the theme, where if they applied for a new library card or renewed their current card, they got entered into a drawing, and we gave them some swaggy type stuff. And I mean, we had people do it, but then we would call them to come get their swag, and they wouldn't pick up their swag. So I'd say our efforts were mixed.
Yeah.
And we also tried to do something with the bingo card promotion that they had last year, which was, you know, you checked off certain things and we entered them into a drawing for that. And I'd say we got minimal return on that.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, I feel like you want to just make it welcoming and sure give away a prize or give away something fun. But again, like getting them to come in, especially if it's, you know, your own outreach event, giving away cards. Maybe that's a place to here's a bag or a pencil or whatever.
We
I like
are
that.
going to try something different with our 18-year-old patrons, where, you know, in our system, 18 and under has to have a parent signature. And then once they're 18, they have a card in their own right without a parent sign off on that. And we're going to try something where we send them a postcard that says, hey, congratulations, it's your 18th birthday. You now qualify to upgrade to an adult only card. And then, you know, bring this card in, and we'll give them a little phone wallet, a little silicone phone wallet with like the 2 earbud holders on the side. And we're planning, I think, on starting that in September, but I don't have any, since we haven't started it yet, I don't know how it's going to go yet.
Okay. It's interesting. Omar, you got your hand up.
Yeah, I think what we're toying with the idea of is maybe doing a ticket that you get once you show your library card or you get a library card. And it's an activity ticket where you either have to attend a program, maybe check out a book, check out one of our databases. So it's a list of things you would do, maybe 5 out of 10 things. Once you turn that in, you would get a tote bag, and then you would be entered into our grand prize. So that's what we're toying with. We're not going to do what we did last time with all the prizes, because even though people loved it, it took a lot of time for people to spin the wheel, check out, and all that. So we're trying to do something similar, but more interactive.
Yeah, I think the prize wheel is such a fun idea at the checkout, but I think in terms of practicality, sometimes being the desk being so busy, you know, the weekend and stuff like that, I could see where circulation staff might be like, nope, we don't want to do that anymore. Robin?
Yeah, so in the past, we did like with new signups, we have these like teal is like our main color. So we have these teal tote bags with our name on it. So we gave those out like with each library card sign up. I know this year, I don't think that we're actually doing any branded swag like from the library, but I do know that I think we're trying to get passes to the Botanic Garden. We got 50 passes once before. So we did like the first 50 people who signed up, and like those went so fast. And I do know that we're also getting passes from the Brookfield Zoo. So we're probably going to be doing something with that. And like one of my, oh, go ahead.
Hang on, how? Everyone wants to know right now, how are you getting passes to Botanic Garden? Yeah.
Okay, so honestly, I know they were given to us, but I don't know how. I know, and I feel like anyone who knows Sasha, who's my boss, like he was definitely, so he was involved. Sasha's on vacation right now, so I can't ask him, but
okay.
but email Sasha and ask him. But as far as like the Brookfield Zoo passes, we had gotten communication from them for summer reading. And they sent out a ton of stuff for summer reading like it was for all libraries. So we got passes for summer reading. And then I was like, well, I'm just gonna email her and ask. And I asked, and she was like, yeah, you can have some more passes. And I explained library card sign up, and it's kind of like what you do for Show Your Card, right? Like you call up these businesses and you kind of like cold call them and just say, hey, like I'm from the library and like our community would love to see support from you. Would you like to donate anything? So sometimes people are like, yes, we would love to give. And then you get lucky.
Right, perfect. Yes. So, right, cold calling is not always easy, but sometimes you get a nice reward. That's awesome. Good for you.
Thanks.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh no, I mean I think as so far that's what we're thinking. We're also thinking of trying to get some like gift cards from like some of our local businesses. But I mean that's pretty much it right now. We're working with like a different budget from before, so we're trying to figure out what library card sign up looks like with a different budget. So
Yeah, I agree. It kind of there's a lot of planning into it, especially if you're doing all these incentives or giveaways. You have to have the budget lined up, or spend the time to get those people to help. Okay, anyone else have some things they want to share about ideas they have or something they'd like to try?
The prize wheel is really great if you have a lot of odds and ends kind of left around. We take that out to events and just kind of gather up whatever we have around, and it has a little dry erase sections on it. So it's really great for that if you're not doing like a permanent setup at your checkout.
Yeah, that's great. Anybody have a mascot? Done a mascot? What's our opinion about mascots? I know I'm taking this a little bit down a different path, but it could relate.
We have mascots that, well, they used to be unofficial mascots in our children's department for summer reading and winter reading. We have a Bigfoot for summer reading and a Yeti for winter reading. And basically they evolved because children's has always hidden stuffed animals throughout their department. So plushes of the Bigfoot and Yeti, but we never really tied them into summer or winter reading program until this year. But with the theme of Read Beyond the Beaten Path, we figured now was the time to officially tie Bigfoot in if we actually wanted him to be our quote unquote mascot for summer reading program. So we designed artwork where we have an official Bigfoot now that we put on our posters for SRP. And everything like that. And like I said, it just kind of evolved from the children's department officially calling Bigfoot our mascot for summer reading program. And then we decided that if we were going to, hide him around and try to make him even more a part of SRP, since that was something that our children's staff and, our visitors were really passionate about.
Interesting. I've seen there's a bunch of stuff here in the chat that I've been missing. So if you guys have been looking at the chats, thanks for sharing your ideas, gift cards. Let's see. One thing that could work is to use businesses to help you spread the word by doing a social media takeover of some kind. And in return, you would highlight them in a newsletter, repost them, and highlight them in some way to give them exposure to more people. In return, your message gets spread to more people. He says we tried that for some writing, so that's a cool idea. Gift cards. It's nice to have a national theme to unite us. I think the characters help more than real people. That's a good point. Sorry, I didn't see these chats. Silicone snack bags, that's probably really popular. Story walk grand opening, fill them with 4 packs of crayons, a small coloring book. We'd probably do something similar at outreach. I feel like we could have a whole session about swag. What works, what doesn't. Bigfoot, Sounds so funny and awesome. I would love to see the graphics from that. So yeah, if you ever want to post those up on the ILA marketing Facebook group, that would be fun to kind of show off that that I agree. I'd like to see how the Bigfoot and the Yeti look. Swag sandbox. Yes, great idea, Lisa. In fact, you know, August, we're going to do our meeting at Palatine Library, and you know, back in the day, people would bring copies of their newsletters or things that they were, you know, kind of proud of. So if you are going to be coming, please feel like you can, you know, bring an example of your favorite swag, or, you know, anything you want to share, bring your newsletters. Yay to in-person meeting. Yeah, I'm excited about that. So I'd love to see, you know, it's a good place to share. Anyhow, Lisa, you got your hand up still.
Oh, I was just gonna explain why I said ARG. Mascots was what that was relating to, as we have a mascot, Max Reader Mouse, but he's very minimally used. We can't get anybody to wear the costume. And when people see the costume out, they think it's a bear. It's just, it's a tough thing.
Yeah.
So for people who have mascots and have managed to get people to wear them, go you, that's great. But
Right. Yeah, I think it depends on the community and the way it's kind of marketed and presented and tied into things, you know. I feel like it kind of make it or break it. So all right. Not see any other new comments. We could kind of transition if anyone has any other questions. I was looking at our Facebook group a little bit earlier this week, and there were some newsletter questions there. There were some interesting topics.
I have a quick question for you. What's a swag sandbox? Is there actually sand involved and you like dig for stuff, or?
You know, there used to be a term for like a tech sandbox where you would bring all different types of tech material and you would just kind of play with it, like playing in a sandbox. So swag sandbox would just be kind of a, you bring yours, I bring mine, we all kind of, yeah, look and share.
Yeah, fun idea. Okay, so the marketing Facebook group, it's the ILA marketing, I think it's ILA marketing group is the title. Let's see, probably, Tamara, if you have a chance, could you put it in the chat?
Yes.
Thank you. Let's see. Okay, well, I don't know if the idea of show your card got sold well because it's difficult. But if anyone ever wants to try it, please reach out to myself or Tamara. You know, we can always answer questions. There's the Facebook group and the chat. Thank you for that, Tamara. Any other topic burning on your mind? Well, let's see. What am I missing here? There's something. Okay. Just thought maybe I missed a comment. So like I mentioned before, August Roundtable will be at Palatine Library on the 19th, same time, 11 o'clock. I kind of anticipate just, hey, let's get to know each other again. We can just chat and share, go around the room, talk about what's going on at our libraries. I'll have some snacks and then we can do a tour because we finished our renovation. So I thought that'd be fun. But we can keep it informal and we won't have a speaker or anything like that. But we will also include a hybrid version. So if you're unable to attend in person, we can still have a meeting and kind of get to know each other that way. We will not, let's see, we will have a roundtable in September and November. I'm not sure if we'll do virtual again or in person. So the board is going to talk about that. We will not have a roundtable in October so that everybody can attend the ILA conference. I hope most of you are coming to that. And then we usually don't have anything going on in December just because it's a busy time of the year for most people. Again, if you're interested in becoming more involved in the marketing group, we would love to have new board members and get some fresh ideas. We will be planning our spring mini conference in the next couple months and trying to put that together. So we'd love to have more in. Let's see, 10 to 12. You know, we can end a little bit earlier unless someone has another topic or just quick question for the group. I think I've covered everything. Tamara, any other business we want to mention?
No, that's it.
Okay. Well, I hope everybody's summer reading is going well, even though we really didn't talk about it. I know it's a busy time of the year, so thanks for still attending in July. A lot of people taking vacations now, but this is a really good topic, and I actually think maybe we'll try and make a little bit of adjustments for this September if we can. I like giving away stuff if we can to people. So if you're get inspired, maybe we'll do a Bigfoot. I don't know. We do a winter reading program. Like I could see maybe doing a mascot for winter reading. It'd be fun. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. Good to see your names. Take care.